Okay, welcome everyone to a new upload to the Denture Adventure right here in Southern Ontario. It's been a while adjusting to the retired life of teaching, although that hasn't stopped me from continuing working in the profession. Probably busier now than ever. I wish I was a little bit younger. But before I digress into that, I wanted to share something with you only because it's a snowy Sunday on Family Day weekend. And I thought I'd be productive and said, well, I'll just go work on another case, which was I was going to leave till the weekday. But I just thought it was interesting. We've got an immediate upper, immediate lower full clearance coming up of the lower 1x7 remaining teeth and the remaining 1x8 teeth. Mobility here is M2 at most. 78-year-old male, never worn a denture before, never worn a partial. Surprisingly not overclosed, but the remaining teeth have done a good job at keeping this vertical dimension somewhat consistent, even though the teeth have over-erupted slightly, or actually we've had bone attrition or bone loss the other way. What have I done so far? These are not border molded impressions. These are alginate impressions that I'm going to create the immediate upper and immediate lower. This I thought I'd share because I think this is by far the most litigious work that the dentist or denturist and or dental technician would come across, is that the consultation that needs to go with needs to be uploaded with this client before going from dentate to edentulous is such a traumatic experience, and one that they didn't choose to go forward with, but one that's inevitable to happen because the choices are limited for what's remaining. So we're just going to do a conventional immediate upper, immediate lower denture. I personally don't like doing immediate dentures. I personally don't like the post-care. I personally don't like the heavy consultation. If I was a selfish practitioner, I'd much more rather deal with the client that's already existing in the prosthetic phase, already been wearing dentures. And then I think arrogantly, I always feel like I can improve on their experience and then come out, let's say, a social victor through the experience. So what have I done so far? I took 2 alginate impressions. I could hand articulate these models, which I did. I average value mounted them in my Hanau articulator, or the old H2 model, which I'm just going to adjust that there. The Bennett shifts seem to slide, but an older machine. But it works fine. I think it's better than, I don't want to use the plain line. If I'm looking here, maybe crossbite on this side. If I'm looking here, maybe not restoring too far back, past this area, let's say. I can just idealize, a 22, 23 degree angle based on, it would be Gerber's lingualized occlusion that says don't put any occlusion past this inclined plane for stability of the denture. And I generally don't like to go too far back there. Now let's talk about this client here. Been in dentures for a long time. The tongue, the glossus has kind of enlarged itself to fill this space. The cheeks have fallen in here, upper and lower. So now we got to part all this anatomy back with dentures. The worst thing I want to do is put something really posterior there to have cheek biting, tongue biting, just a mouth of marbles going on, especially for the new user. But we can see here he's got 3 anterior teeth remaining. Sent the client for cleaning. This calculus that was built up so big on these natural teeth probably would have not been really kind to him physically during the extraction phase, kind of limiting any kind of bacterial infection that may be ingested through the extraction phase. So just kind of keep it clean. Plus I could now see the margins of where the teeth finished and then the root exposure. I just saw calculus blobs here earlier. If you can kind of zoom in, maybe. Can we zoom in a little bit? And yeah, here we saw a lot of calculus buildup, rocks here. So I hand articulated, and then just to be prudent, I went and I did a partial wax tooth try-in, which has already been completed, and just to verify centric occlusion here. Okay, so we're going to maintain this position the same for the patient. Now, I just threw some teeth back there. Here we've got 3 bicuspids in a molar. Here we got 3 bicuspids in a molar. I'll probably end up with 5, 6, 7, bringing in the second molars, but I'm not even sure yet. But this is the correct mounting. At the same time, I did some markings on the model for plane of occlusion because I don't have an occlusion rim to get this horizontal plane. I marked the midline on the just on the central here. I've cut back my base plate to see my extension. I'm just sitting on the soft palate slightly in this area. If I can just light scribing of the palate. We're going to use injection molding process, so we don't have much shrinkage or lifting of the palate, but this will kind of aid in the trimming and deflect this soft tissue ever so slightly, trying to get a positive seal here for this denture, which, believe it or not, I kind of did on the partial denture or on the partial setup. And then I could cut back also and see what he could tolerate back here as a gag reflex. I always like to think if I can go further, I can, obviously keeping the patient comfortable. So I've got plane of occlusion markings on the natural teeth. I should have some ridge lines here marking the center load line of this posterior ridge. So I get my central groove right on this ridge here as best I can. I kind of eyed the length that I want the occlusion to span. I think I might have had them on there when I did my setup, and they're very close, these posterior teeth. And you can see the plane of occlusion from this angle. It's not too far off. Now, how I'm going to embark in setting up this case, I've set my articulator here at average values, 30 condylar guidance, 15 Bennett shift, the average value mounting of a 25, 26 degree bulk well angle from the condyle to the plane of occlusion, and kind of basic stuff. What do I need here? I guess you could use a saw because I want to, we'll take this out of the way for visual because I have natural teeth to support my centric occlusion on this side. So I'll probably do half a setup and then the other half I'll remain in the dentate just so I can see where I was and where I'm going. I'd hate to just, I've had technicians work for me and they've just taken everything off. I'm like, well, now you've just lost all the valuable information that's behold of those natural teeth. So how you can cut your midline, I want to cut back this central a bit here. I can use a saw. I can use a thin carbon disc, which I think I probably will use it this time. I can use a diamond disc. I can use a carbide disc. Your choice. Let's go with the flexible one. I've marked the central line, the midline, which is just off this central slightly. You can see I've marked it in red up here. So I'm going to decide to do the front left quadrant or quadrant number 2 first. I'm going to cut back this tooth right to my midline. Now, this is why I hate doing immediate dentures. Who does like them? Because I really, yes, I've taken all precautions to maintain midline plane of occlusion, but ultimately, I wish I could do a wax tooth try-in. I really ultimately wish I could do that. But we did the partial try-in as best we can, and now I have to be a guesstimator. And with some experience, I'm a pretty good guesstimator. Haven't had any issues. I guess worst case scenario, one of the caveats I would tell the client, and like, if I really crap the bed here and end up, with a plane of occlusion like this, then naturally we're in a remake stage. I've yet to have to do that ever. But there's always a possibility. And the day you don't think about it, or the day you be more cavalier in your procedures, is the day it's going to happen. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. So here I got my plane of occlusion. I can even mark my plane of occlusion back here and back here. This side up a little bit higher. Now, you could go, 2/3 retromolar pad, all that other malarkey from, I shouldn't say it's malarkey, all that other stuff. Sure, I could mark the retromolar pads, and then I'm pretty close to 2/3 if you were using average. So this is actually a pretty, average case. Thankfully, the patient's not overclosed. But now, I've chosen the matching mold here. The patient's like C5. I know it doesn't exist, but you know what I mean. Darker than C4 and grayer, but actually with a lot of yellow in there. So maybe an A5 instead of A4. But I'm going to move the patient up to A3.5. I think that would be something that can be tolerated aesthetically without looking like a light bulb went off in this patient's face. So I've marked my plane of occlusion. Naturally, this central is not going to fit in this space. So I need to now, I can surgerize the lateral. So I can, just to make me room for my central, I can use my saw. Now, beginners, you can use a little red line at the gingival margin so you don't obliterate into the bone, because the worst case scenario is you've got to err on the, let's say, larger side here. You can't just go and start creating some type of, recess into the maxilla here. I'll put the suction on, but I know it's noisy for you. And a little vibration. I know you missed me out there. No. I probably just missed myself talking nonsense. But you know what? It's a snowy day. I said, why don't I share something with the few followers that I have and the few viewers that might find it interesting. Naturally, the seasoned veteran will say, yeah, sure. They're too busy doing their own to be watching mine. But you know what? It's been an adjustment, not teaching dental technology. I mean, in the beginning, I taught denturism early on for many years, which unfortunately I didn't get to return to the denturism clinic with the students for the last 15 years. There's school politics and administrators that, have to decide where their team is best suited for success in each department. So obviously, that would be, as I would use the analogy, as the bench coach of the hockey team. You'll put your players on the ice where you think you'll have a better chance of winning. So administration of yesterday, in their wisdom, had put me on the dental technology team, which I really embraced, and think that's the secret to all dentistry, is the grassroots of the dental laboratory bench of where I'm sitting now. Not in the clinic, not in the clinic chair. Of course, we're expecting good consultation skills, good impression skills, good cognitive understanding of prosthetic procedures. But really, the proof in the pudding is right here. Without good dental technology, I'm sorry, no chance. But you can see this central has come lingual. And this one, the lateral here, is rotated to the labial. So I'm now going to go somewhat in between that. Again, no tooth trying. But if you look straight down, this would be a good rule of thumb, is this sulcus here. Not to mention I have these two teeth and these two canines. And this is going to be my, hopefully the lowers don't come involved in my way. A little bit too long, long in the tooth, ha ha ha. So we're going to reduce just the ridge lap of tooth number 2-1 here. A little bit slow at the start, but I'm in no rush. I mean, everyone in dental technology like, oh, how long did it take you? Times that by 8 hour times days, by 5 days a week and not working. Oh, and then we come up with an hourly wage. It doesn't work that way. No matter whatever hourly wage you come up with, it's never enough, it seems, in the dental technology from the economies of scale. All the dentists watching out there, yes, there's huge overheads in the dental office, but as I just had a conversation with a longtime customer, I said, well, I'm only making $1,500 from that partial denture, Paul. I said, well, not bad for 2 alginates since I did everything else. But that was my inside voice. But now, as I'm entering senior status, the inside voice is becoming outside. Oh, my God. He looked at me with 3 eyeballs and said, really? I said, yeah. 2 alginates that you didn't take, that you had the hygienist take. Please, give me a break. You're $1,500. So, it's good salary. But there has to be good dental technology to talk any dollars and cents. Really, it has to be good dental technology for this case or any case to go smoothly, especially in the cast partial denture arena, which I think was one of my favorite classes to teach, was the cast partial denture design, wax up manufacturing. Only because I probably started there 1984. Oh, aging myself. That sucks. But in 1984-ish. And, you know, it's one of your first things. It's kind of like your first girlfriend. You're not going to forget her. The job, my goodness, was that some traumatic experience back then in 1984. Doing frameworks. You know, I sound like an old guy. Oh, I walked to school in bare feet and no shoes. Yeah, $45 frames, which I think was expensive at the time from where I was working. But needless to say, it was, it all reflected the, hourly minimum wage of what we started at. But that was then, this is now. I do think dental technology is in the best place it's ever been if we talk dollars and cents. One of my favorite subjects now. And I think dental technology is finally being a little bit more respected by themselves and in the workplace, and the practitioners are realizing that even in school, in dental school, their dental technology teachings, their education has come down because they're making room for implants and cosmetic dentistry and whatever else gets put into their program in the same 4 years as they used to have. But hey, I'm off screen. So here's my central plane of occlusion. Am I going to move it from there? Maybe, maybe not, possibly. But we can see there's a plane of occlusion from this side, pretty close. And then my midline, there'll be some tweaking going on here, but this is a good start. Look where the patient is. Look where they're going. The smile window will be a little bit less. Obviously, there'll be minimum overbite, minimum overjet in this case, to give the patient a little bit more freeway space when they are in talking or vocalizing, verbalizing. What am I talking about? A lot of things. Still at dental technology is the best thing going these days if we can find a great customer base that values our services and we value ourselves and our time, because this is not an easy job. This is not easy. I wish it was easy, but it's not easy. I find nothing easy these days. I think in the future I will post a few survey design blockouts of the castings that I do. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Does he make his own castings? Yes, I do. Why? I don't know. Control freak? Maybe I know what goes on in those places. Places. I know what goes on there. So, I don't want mine, quenched or rushed. I just want to be the best frames possible. But again, back to the immediate denture. I have surgerized 2-3. I think we're going to be in a pretty good class 1 occlusion here. I want to bring that in just a bit, just a little bit more. Reduce the labial contour of that just a touch. Yeah. Because I'm just looking at the lowers here. These are obviously collapsed in, but I don't want to go off the ridge. Let's put on tooth number 2 and 3. Maybe we stop there. You know what? I mentioned I was senior. Maybe I need a break. No, I don't. It's time for a break. Coffee time. No, it's not. The snow outside is piling by the inches. Now, I'm really cavalierly trimming here with my burr. I'm going to remove and reduce the intaglial surface of the stone model upon processing anyways to smooth out any type of discrepancies. I don't want to be impinging on any bone, please. There is no surgical template here. There is no surgical guide or stent or so I've got to be careful not to. I mean, I'm thinking of swelling and sutures and clotting and all that stuff, right? I mean, ideally, I wish the patient would go and have their extractions and then give me a couple of weeks of Dentures before you embark on treatment. But that's not going to happen. We're going to use these immediate dentures to protect the surgical sites right after surgery, basically. An expensive plastic Band-Aid. Not to mention restoring some aesthetics, although the patient will feel like they got hit in the head with a bat after extracting 9 teeth. What do we got? 8 and 15 teeth? 9. Yeah, so they're not going to feel great. And then I'm going to see this client maybe 4 days post-op. And any adjustments, hopefully 0. But there'll be 1 or 2 small ones. And then maybe soft liner at that time. Tissue conditioner, get them up and running. And then this is where the litigation stops or starts, where so many patients I see, and the stories are varying. I'm like, I can see they've been wearing an immediate denture for 10 years, average. I'm like, did you have any tissue conditioner to this? No, nothing, no. Reline, no one said anything. I'm like, I find that hard to believe that a practitioner wouldn't tell the client that they needed a reline or some post-care. So then I'm thinking, I'm trying to read between the lines. Maybe it was the fee that was discussed additionally for relines. Maybe you just hate dentistry and you didn't want to go to the office. Maybe you moved. I don't know. So many reasons. But I see these clients walking around with immediate dentures with their C-bond liners or a whole tube of polygrip in the purse or pocket. You know, like, wow. And then I'm thinking to myself, after 30 years plus, I go, I never had any clients like that would just disappear. They're on my doorstep the minute they have the slightest discomfort. They're like, yeah, this is killing me. And then I look in their mouth on a scale of 1 to 10. And the denture sore scale is like a 0.5. And they're calling a priest in 911. I'm like, relax. We'll adjust the denture. And then, you know, you take a slight adjustment and they're like, fantastic. But yeah, I've never had the luxury of those clients that just disappear and then show up. But I've had the luxury of them showing up on my doorstep 10 years after the immediate saying, well, what can be done? I'm like, where have you been? But naturally, I think that's just the nature of the beast. A lot of people ended up in prosthetics from neglect, let's say. And then they neglected to go further. And then they only show up when it's in dire need of doing something. Right? So here I had to trim the neck of the 2-2 to get the same emergence angle labially from here. And I'm looking from the occlusal view. I'm looking from the labial view. I can look from the side view and my lateral touch further out at the neck. And I'm going to probably adjust these after I get all 6 done. But in this case, normally I would do all 6, but I'm going to maintain this side and finish the whole left side. I think so. Or at least the anterior of the left side. I'm not sure yet. But I'm going to go in, this one's in my way, this bicuspid. So I'm going to use my trusty extraction blade. It's a little bit tough. So what I'll do is I'll go in with a burr maybe or something. I don't want to like ruin the natural tooth. I'm going to maintain the integrity of the some degree. So maybe I'll just do something here at the cervical CJ. And good thing the anesthetic hasn't worn off on the wall. Normally I would put the air on, but I don't want to blow this in my face with the camera on here. So I'm just using the brush, take away some of the dust so I can see what I want to. Maybe I'm using a stone burr. You can use any burr, I guess, but this one's for stone burr. And again, looks a little bit like you think, oh my God, he's just buzzing away. No, I'm pretty calculated. I can still see the gingival margin ledge here. And I'll smooth it out. And then this labial plate's going to collapse from extraction. Hopefully the dentist will, I know they will, kind of remove any interseptal bone if there's any fracture between. You know, I don't need any, I don't need to deal with bone chips or fragments after extraction that, you know, now that's my problem 2 months after the patient's wearing dentures saying, yeah, I got these little spicules. So let's see how Mr. Canine's going to go in here. Yeah, sure. So this is fun. I hope you're enjoying the diatribe. I hope you're enjoying the dentures. Is there anything to learn here? Obviously, if you're experienced in making dentures, probably not, but since we all work in silence, although today is very chatty where I am today by myself, we never really see what other people do. Honestly, how many other people have I seen make an immediate denture other than my instructor in 1982? And then watching myself instructed from my own students, right? I'm not saying there's nothing else to learn. I'm sure there is. But we work in isolation. So I'll share. It's just too bad everyone didn't share. I always found some great tips from some students that just had more of a common sense approach because they didn't have, you know, they've never worked at other laboratories where they had different procedures of doing things. And then that I inherited, which are not necessarily the best. So it was always kind of fun to see a student take a, let's say, a green approach at a procedure and say, oh, well, it makes sense to do this way. And a couple of times I'd say, you know what? Why not? Why not? But, you know, wax control is very important. Obviously, arthritic hand control is important as I struggle with the canine. I got too much neck sticking out there. Now, naturally, this is all, you know, in your denture aesthetic setup. But I mean, naturally, the laterals, mine's already tilted in. I got to move it back out a bit to get this more, this instead of this line angle, maybe laid off a bit. Canine's sticking out too far. We got to reduce that some more. And I'm not going to be cavalier and reduce the bone. This is the litigious nature of immediate dentures, where I see dental technicians in the past, especially I've seen dentures like this, they didn't even reduce the teeth. They didn't even trim the neck of a denture. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't fit. So they would either remove the bone, choose smaller teeth, maybe teeth size for this guy's wife, probably. I don't know. And then they would do something to accommodate their class 1. Or if the patient was crossbite or class 2 or class 3, they would stretch him into this ideal class 1 occlusion. I'm just going to follow the anatomy given to me. I'm guessing it could be unilateral crossbite. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm looking at the ridges and yeah, Do I have a textbook to say, oh, the plane of occlusion is less than 80 degrees, blah, 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 perpendicular? I don't know. But I'm moving forward, keeping things in the neutral zone. Nothing obtuse, crazy, way out there. Naturally, he's got a really tapered setup, so I don't want to make a broad setup. He's got very tapered teeth. I'm not going to give him ovoid teeth. I mean, these are kind of basic things, right? I think I can bring this eye teeth down. I want to bring the neck out a little bit. We can come down a little bit more. And then now we got to bring out the, oh yeah, there we go. Something like that. And then I'm going to go back once I do the other half and then make symmetrically asymmetrical, if that's an oxymoron. Symmetrically asymmetrical. Now these canine looks really huge, but you got to imagine to take the root off it. And pretty much the same size. Pretty close. Pretty close. What teeth am I using here? Non-sponsor to my channel, Vita MFT. Shade A 3.5, R47 1/6 upper, and the lower's long in the tooth, L37 long neck with PL33s in the back, large posterior teeth, 33 millimeters, big occlusal table, which means I'll probably only use 3. So there we have our anterior 3 setup. I'm going to do this at the end anyways, but since I want to be able to do the I'm going to put a wear pattern, the occlusal facet of that canine. No one at this age has pointy canines, my goodness. Nobody does. Well, I'm looking here, he kind of does. And yeah, I'm putting wear pattern because I need my group function to work. It's not canine guided occlusion. And then you know what? I could set up my occlusal table because this patient, do the teeth control this angle movement? If I look at it, the condyle and the canine occlusion, canine guided occlusion, I've got the condyle at 30. It's pretty much bang on here. Now I could change the incisal table to the same. Now, here we go. Let's do this. Let's get on the screen. This is fun. I'm getting dizzy there. If you're bored, you can start scrolling. No, stay on the channel. This is fun. I'm reducing the lower anteriors that are over erupted to my plane of occlusion line. Let's just see what this looks like. Oh, let me put my condyle back. Come on. There we go. Stay there. I think you don't need to. Let's tighten this up here. What are you doing? This articulator, surprisingly, it still kicks around. I had this when I was a student, this one. I've got many others. I just happened to pick this one up. And it's still kicking. It's kind of the H2 model I remember from Hano. It's popular there, early 80s. You know, kind of like the Depeche Mode of partial articulators. Good for a while. Trendy. No, that's silly stuff. That was 80s, early 80s. Yeah, I think something like this. Oh, back at home there, wherever you're watching, you know, maybe the neck out is too much here, not here. I can see the bone support. I didn't put blobs of wax here. This is going to be a really thin labial flange here. We'll backfill with relines and soft liners after. I think I'm okay with this plane of occlusion here. Let's start with the lower. I'll take some of that base plate away. That's in behind. I don't need that. Just give me some freedom. Now, I guess I might do 2 at a time if you want, but since this is the adventure of dentures, let's do 1. There's no need to. No need to rush into 2. I can do that one after. A little bit of wax here. A little bit of wax. You can see how long I've got the neck in these ones here too. I'm looking at overjet, overbite, millimeter or so. Pretty damn close. Let's take a little bit of the neck off here. Not with the stone burst silly. This one here is better. Now, would I be trimming on top of all my stuff? But we've got camera, suction, action, models, wax, everything around me. I feel like I'm in the straitjacket of a setup, but that's okay. I'll manage. After all these years, I could probably do it in the phone booth. Maybe not. Yeah, I just find when the years pass by, most errors have been created in one's professional career. And then now moving forward, I hate using that word, moving forward. It sounds so corporate jargon. Moving forward, that's because people realize they're stuck, not moving. So they say moving forward. As we pivot, that's another one that just gets my skin crawling. We're pivoting, really? If you're proactive in your actions, then you wouldn't have to pivot. You'd be there already. Okay. See what happens? Senior citizen, you start to be grumpy old man. Get off my lawn. Kids. That's next this summer. Get off my lawn, kids. Is that what's coming? Oh my God. So, I've got a little extra overjet I've left here at the beginning, a little less overbite. We're going to adjust maybe a little bit more. Whoa. Hang on, let me fuse this single tooth. So I can see where we were on the right and where we're going on the left. A lot of times I wouldn't have this set up back here already, but it was there from the try-in. So I'm ignoring it for now, except I can see my plane of occlusion from my central to my back lines there. And we got a plethora of plates to kind of visualize this. Yeah. Whoop. Next week, LMT Lab Day. Chicago. I wonder if the attendance from the Canadians will go down. Not to talk politics, but it seems like we've got a pro-nationalist vibe going on with south of the border. Donnie guy there and his buddies seem to be angry with Canada's participation in defense contracts, or not at the percentage that they'd want us to spend. I'm not into politics, but it seems like you've already emasculated us over the years of not allowing us to build our own car through treaty, not allowing us to build our own fighter aircraft, Avro Aero. Way back in the 50s, we sold that out. It was state of the art, apparently, I wasn't there, but I watched the videos. But you know what? This denture here is made in Canada. Made in Canada. It's not going offshore. Donald Trump's always talking about China. Well, I wonder how much work in the U.S. sent to U.S. companies that have put foreign investment offshore, overseas, whether it's Taiwan, Taipei, Hong Kong, China, India. How much of this goes offshore, or how much of this work is done by, here we go, politics, by people that have crossed the wall. Hardworking people. Hardworking people. But anyways, again, I digress again, but I know you love it. Yeah. This canine's huge. This is where we're going to have some issues, I think. Big canine. Let me see how much I got at the back here. Yeah, I got some to come off. What am I doing? A little bit conservative in my canine on the lingual here. Yeah, am I out of focus? I don't know. Bit of a mess going on here. Let's take this out. Let's take that out right down. Yeah, a lot of bone loss on the lingual. Labial plate holding it on. For dear life. Oh my God, like dust bowl. This one moved a little bit. We'll move it back. We'll put the little try-in back in there. Maybe get rid of some of this plastic. I don't need that thickness in my wax up. I don't need that thickness back there in the wax up. That's just gonna, more trimming. But that's okay, because I'm gonna use the base plate in the processing. Now, look at that. We're taking the canine out to put the lateral in. We didn't put the channel on to listen about made in Canada or Taiwan. I don't have the statistics, but I see them in my magazines a lot. And I know there's a lot of American companies invested, offshore labs or manufacturers, you know, Dentsply, etc., stuff like that. They've got their own labs offshore. So maybe I'll start putting on the bill tariff-free this denture, teeth coming from, well, we know Vita's in Germany, in the Black Forest, but I'm sure this brand, I don't think it's made there. Does it say them on the back? Yeah, China. Yeah, or at least the plastic card is. But I'm sure they have a plant there too. Actually, I'm almost positive they do. They do a good job. And then we're making a cost-effective aesthetic alternative too. I can only imagine the production costs here. We gotta have to take this neck down here from the canine. Got a huge eminence here, the three area, which is gonna look kind of goofy because I can't get down here. Look at the bone loss that's occurred here and here. None, but we know from the lip line of the lower, I don't think we're gonna have an issue. And we're gonna have to go up a little bit. And on the lateral, is it this one or the other one? I put in an A4 just to bring in like one lower lateral A4 from A3.5. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I thought it would look kind of, you know, just throw some asymmetry into the whole thing visually. The other lateral, and then plus the shades changes and alters depending on how much of the hue of the shade is removed from, let's say, the intermesentery of the tooth here. As I'm trimming the neck, hollowing out the tooth a bit, and some get, back here, get a little bit thinner. And this neck is going to have to cheat a little bit out. But you know what? That's okay. I think I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive on the neck trimming here. Just the worst thing is the model dictating the setup or the base plate or the wax. I want to dictate its location. Anyways, I'm not going to bore you much longer. Maybe I'll just stop at the canine and then bring you all back when it's done. Yeah, because that's when it'll come back from being sent offshore. Wrong. Too much of a control freak for that. I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to do it right here. Before I got to go out and shovel the entranceway here. Yeah. I'm trying to maintain the same overjet on these two teeth. And since I've rotated this lateral in a little bit more, then it's forcing me to rotate this one in, which is bringing my neck out. So maybe I go back here and do a little, distal, just a little kick out to the distal. And then that gives me more room and I can slide up there. So there's always a little tweaking here done in the anterior, for sure. And then this whole lower has collapsed in. We're gonna make it more broader before we turn the corner around with this canine. Let's take out Mr. Bicuspid here, number 3, 4. Stop shaking. Slowly. Cool guy. Cool guy. Not that one. Let's put that one back. Put that one back, Paul. There we go. We'll just put it back for now. It's not going anywhere. But I'm not happy with this one coming out. I mean, with the camera in the way, I would have held the thing the other way. And then a little vacuum, if you don't mind, because this is just, dusty job. There are easier jobs in the world, trust me. But this is rewarding in itself. End of March, we've got the 2025, kind of dating this video already, to the Kunstsanver IDS in Cologne meeting. And I'm hoping to post on my social media. I've entered for the first time in my life. Without any teaching going on, I had time to document this year's competition, which was a full upper, full lower denture. And then they give you the case and you solve the problem. Lingualized occlusion, etc. from Candelar. And this competition has been going on many years. I think something I've always wanted to enter. And I don't know, I guess we'll find out next week. They said, hold the date. You may be, on the presentation stage. Let's hope. Let's hope. We'll show up with something Canadian on. Put us on the map here. The 51st state. Oh. I know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that to rub you the wrong way, but this is what's been going on in the news while you're here in the lab all the time is nonsense. 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 But what's our Canadian response? I guess we could respond with more nonsensical stuff. Like saying, yeah, we'll trade you a little bit of this for the West Coast, or, the state of Maine doesn't really, fit with you guys, or Vermont or something. We could always trade, but do we start talking nonsensical stuff like that? Why waste the airways with news like that? We've got bigger pressing issues. My God. Now, am I a political person? No, but it seems to be the thing in the news, so I'm talking about it as I re-wax my 3-2. And sarcastically talk about silly stuff like made in Canada. And can this case be made elsewhere? Of course it can. Can it be just as good? Maybe. Can it be better? Possibly. But you know what? It wouldn't be made by me, though. It'd be made by somebody else. So it's not a... can it be done cheaper? That I know for sure. But that doesn't mean anything. This is Ontario. This is what it's going to cost. This is what's going to happen. The biggest thing here is I'm going to care for this individual. I already have, and I'm feeling really responsible, like a heavy feeling for this client to bring them through transition time from having a partially dentate dentition to this is going to be like a sliver veneer canine root here on the outside, and then I may have to kick this out here too if I can't turn the corner fast enough, but I'm going to try. But I've got a lot of bone here that we just can't cavalierly remove. It's got to stay. I mean, that's going to be there. Some of it post-surgery, we don't know. It's going to collapse eventually, but it's going to be there for a while. So we got to get this denture to fit over top of it. That's a better corner. This is the most important tooth in the setup, is this eye tooth business. So what I might do is this is going to get a little bit broader on the upper then. Just going to move that out just a touch, which is fine. I'm looking at the sulcus of the maxillary. Yeah, I guess less academic now for this video because I'm not thinking of my students doing a project, which is how all these videos started. The student would say, well, I missed the demonstration. I'm like, well, I'll just videotape me doing it. You can watch it on your own. Try to take out what you can from it. And if you miss something, I guess you could put it on rewind. I think I did a whole bunch. I don't know how many, a couple hundred for each procedure of our, but this is a real stuff. Immediate denture, which I think has got more value when it's real, instead of one that's contrived that we would do at school. But naturally, the school's very important to learn the principles. And I'm looking here at the eye tooth. I think I want to bring this back out again. I really do. Remember how I was so hell-bent on putting it in? I'm going to bring it out a bit there. This eye tooth, the corner tooth, the Exxon in Germany. In Germany. Exxon. Sounds French. That would be excellent. So, yeah, no bilingual portion of this little video, sorry. The other very important part of our country. I'm not giving it bilingual, although I wish I could. I wish my French was good enough to switch gears here and the other half in French, but unfortunately, this is on more politics where we have failed as a bilingual nation, is to ensure the citizens are bilingual if we truly wish to have a bilingual country. Otherwise, it's just kiss and giggles. But more digression. Now, I have my anterior setup here, a little bit more tweaking to do, neck in, neck out, back and forth. You can see now I've turned the corner here. It's going to come a little bit wider than the lingual version of these teeth, kind of big lingual version, probably moved to support CO. And then I'm going to finish this whole quadrant, and then I'll finish this one, and we'll come back. We'll just do this in two parts, like a part 2 video. I don't think you need to see me trimming all the teeth. But this is important. You can see where I was and where I'm going to end up. So we can almost screenshot this, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to screenshot here. Maybe I'll screenshot when I do the whole left side, lower and upper. Come back, screenshot it, do the other side, and then compare the two pics. Anyways, if you were entertained, great. I know I was, which is a little bit selfish thing for doing these videos. I entertain myself from the boredom and, sitting here in the lab on a Sunday, listening to whatever, CBC radio podcasts, or just the hum of the suction and the drip of the coffee machine. But till next time, not much else to say. But I hope you got a few things here of what I was trying to do. Do I know this is going to be a success? No, I don't. But I've done the correct, let's say, steps to minimize any chance of this going off the rails. Still might. Scary. Don't like it. Unsettling feeling. Tough job. But I will endeavor to ensure success for this client, no matter what it takes. Which I think I'm kind of, there's going to be a bit of a contrast of what they look like and what they did before. We're going to A4 lateral here, maybe sticking out. I might go back to A3.5. I don't know. But anyways, I'll come back and I'll show you the video. Thank you for your couple giggles we had together. I heard you out there. Yeah, I still hear you now. And it was fun. We'll catch up. Bye for now.